there was no more procrastination for me to do, so I dropped the voodoo doll in the lava and started the fight. And from the very beginning of the fight, I could kind of tell that this wasn't even possible.
What?
Guys, I'm sorry,
But you can't do this to me.
I offered you friendship, and you spat in my face.
Welcome back to the Master Mode for the Worthy Yo-Yo playthrough. We start this video off by, of course, beating Wall of Flesh, so we can start hard mode. The first thing I do is I go smash some altars in the corruption. And I get palladium, orichalcum, and adamantite. I smash a lot of altars to make sure I can speed up the mining process. And then once I'm done with that, I start spreading hallow around my base because corruption is very close by and we do not want it to get corrupted. Once that's done, I of course start hard mode mining, which some people like, some people don't. I personally don't hate it nearly as much as other people do, but it does get a little bit tedious after a while, so I just didn't show much of it. I of course just got palladium, like a pickaxe, then just got an orichalcum pickaxe and an anvil, and then skipped all the way to adamantite. It was raining once I finished getting adamantite armor, so I decided to take a trip to the snow biome. Thought maybe I could get the frost feather, or frozen feather, or whatever it's called. But I only died. That's all I found there. Death. So I turned to the hallowed biome to actually get some fairy wings, which are exactly the same stat-wise as frozen wings, but just look different, so that's fine. I roped up into the sky and made a little platform to farm wyverns on, and eventually I did get the souls of flight I needed, but of course I just died several times also. Once I had my wings, I actually used the platform I made to farm wyverns to kill myself so I could make a graveyard around the Dryad. If you don't know, in the graveyard biome, you can buy the opposite World Evil seeds in hard mode only. I placed some crimson seeds on dirt next to a patch of 300 stone because you need at least 300 blocks of crimson or corruption to make a biome, and I sat there and let it spread for a while. Sadly for me, the place I chose to make my crimson biome wasn't really conducive for farming crimson mobs, so I had to take the crimson blocks somewhere else. But on my search to find a new place, I actually ran into a mimic who gave me a philosopher's stone. Very nice indeed. I was hoping I would find the skeleton merchant, and I actually found him a couple times, but he got killed before I could get over to him and buy myself a yo-yo glove. After a while though, I did find a good place to maybe make a farm, so I started blowing out the area, and while I was doing it, this skeleton merchant showed up, and I was able to snag a yo-yo glove from him before he was killed again. He showed up again, and I bought a gradient while I was also still making the farm, and I was also able to get a Titan glove, still making the farm. So I came back to base, combined some of my accessories, made myself a yo-yo bag and a power glove, and ran into King Slime on my way back, so he died very quickly. Now that the Crimson farm was done, I spent a while here trying to get Crimson mimics, because I wanted to make the Berserker's glove for its nice defense increase. I sat here for many hours, dying to Crimson mimics, waiting for them to even show up, but finally I did get myself some flesh knuckles. I gave it a quick reforge, then went over to the dungeon, and expanded the arena from Skeletron to actually make it suitable for the mech bosses. I made myself a hallowed fishing hole for Prismite. Once I had all the buff potions I need, I took on the twins because I had actually gotten a spawner from the Crimson farm and killed them without really any problems. With the twins dead, it was the perfect opportunity to upgrade my yo-yo because now the Yellets was available in the jungle, so I took myself over there and farmed for the Yellets for a while. Once I got it, I gave it a nice reforge. The solar eclipse decided to happen, so I went and fought that. It was actually absurd how many Neptune's shells that dropped. I didn't want to fight the solar eclipse yet anyway, but at least I got some good money. After the solar eclipse, I made myself a mechanical worm, added some honey runs to my arena, and took on the destroyer, who also died without much issue. The last mechanical boss that was left was, of course, Skeletron Prime.
Looks like someone's still nervous about buying a new house.
Get to know Geico and see how much you could save on homeowners and renters insurance.
So I had to mine some dungeon bricks and try to Skeletron-proof my arena so my world would not get absolutely decimated. I made myself a Skeletron Prime spawner, but he decided to come naturally. And he killed me very fast, because the damage on him, on especially that Prime Vice, is ridiculous. But after a while, I did manage to kill him. And when I actually killed him, it wasn't that hard. I don't know why I kept dying. I just kind of did. I went back to base and made myself Hallowed Armor and a pickaxe axe. It was straight to the jungle after I had my hallowed gear because life fruit and chlorophyte are very good. I got the turtle shells I needed to make turtle armor, which I also need for later. So I came back to base, consumed all my life fruit, made turtle armor, and also made some new wings, some bee wings, because I had gotten a broken bee wing in the jungle, so I thought, why not? After I had bee wings, I actually went to the dungeon and farmed before a Czar, because that and a fast clock were the only two things I needed for the Yank Shield. And I always try to get the Yank Shield before I fight Plantera, so I don't have to deal with poison damage. After that was all done, I went back to the jungle and actually started my Plantera Arena, which of course was just me expanding my Queen Bee Arena. I started my fight with Plantera, and I almost won. But I died at the very last minute, which was very irritating to say the least. And after a couple more tries, I realized that the problem I was having wasn't that I didn't have enough defense or damage. It was actually because I didn't have enough speed. So I expanded my arena slightly and actually switched to Hallowed Armor. And I won first try once I did this. Now, of course, was time for Golem, but I didn't think I had what I needed to take on Golem yet, because For the Worthy Golem is an absolute beast. So I just went to the temple, unlocked the door, and actually farmed for solar tablet fragments, because I can now get the best yo-yo in hard mode, which is the Eye of Cthulhu yo-yo. I got some solar tablet fragments, made some solar tablets, and summoned the solar eclipse. I then just killed enemies until Mothron showed up. And then when she did, she actually dropped an Eye of Cthulhu first try. I gave it a reforge. I headed to the dungeon to get some Master Ninja gear and a Paladin shield, because the Frozen shield is very good, and you need the Paladin shield to make the Frozen shield. So I farmed there for a while until I got the ingredients I needed for all of those things. The last thing I needed before I could actually make a Frozen shield was the Frozen Turtle Shell. So I actually went to the snow biome and made myself a farm there to get that. Instead of going through the entire temple, I simply just actuated under the golem room into the golem chamber and then made my arena there. I actually got a pretty big golem chamber this time, so I didn't have to do as much actuating. I started my fight with Golem, and surprisingly, I killed him first try. I just prioritized his hands with my yo-yo first, and then once that was dead, the rest was not too hard, actually. I killed Golem twice, so I went back to base and actually got a pick-off from both of his treasure bags. which was very good. And of course, I got enough beetle husks to make... I made myself an extra turtle chest plate because I had leftover chlorophyte, and made both beetle chest plates. Went to the dungeon to repair my arena for the Empress of Light. I made a mini Hallowed biome at my dungeon arena so the prismatic lace wing wouldn't fly away. When it was nighttime, I tried against the Empress of Light. She killed me. The solid blocks on the bottom of the arena messed me up a lot, so I changed it to platforms, and I mined out the floating island above the arena a little bit, and I still died, sadly. So I actually ended up taking the floating island out completely because it kept blocking me. And eventually I did win. The only reason I fought the Empress of Light was for the soaring insignia, or cultists and the pillars in Moonlord. So the very next day, I went to the dungeon and tried my luck against the cultist. All was going great until a wyvern decided to come and one-shot me at the very end of the fight. That was not okay. But the next day I came back and destroyed the cultist. I took on the Nebula Pillar first. Then once that was done, I went to the Solar Pillar. I died a lot on the Solar and Nebula Pillars. But then the Vortex and Stardust were actually not too difficult, which was great. Moonlord came, and I was very unprepared for him, so he killed me very quickly. I had enough fragments to make a Celestial Sigil, so I fought him again, and I was almost fully prepared for this fight, but I forgot to have a Sharpening Station buff available, so I ended up dying again. I suffered through the pillars again, made sure I was completely prepared this time. And finally, I was able to beat the Moonlord. So, in conclusion, for this playthrough, it's fun. It is fun. It's a good playthrough to do, and hard mode wasn't actually that bad. It was pretty fun. The only really tough fight in this entire playthrough is going to be Wall of Flesh. The other fights don't actually feel that bad, honestly, to me at least. So if you're willing to give it a try, and you're willing to take on Wall of Flesh, then you should be in for a fun time. But yeah guys, that's going to end this playthrough off. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, bye guys.